Aviation remains an enabler and positive factor for growth, development, and the robustness of the economy. To achieve this in the African and Indian Ocean region post the pandemic, top brass of the African aviation industry as well as the International Civil Aviation Organization gather in Abuja, Nigeria's Federal Capital Territory, to discuss initiatives which will strengthen safety, security, and facilitation post the pandemic, plus a report on people living with disabilities' access to airports and airlines. A warm welcome to Aviation this week on Channels Television. I'm Bukola Joe Oketumbi. Let's take to the skies. Recovery post the COVID-19 pandemic, not just in passenger numbers, but also in the area of safety and security, is key for the aviation industry, both in Africa and the Indian Ocean region. Within this hall in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory, are the creme de la creme of the industry from the AFI region and the International Civil Aviation Organization.
Today is a clear demonstration of the strengthening the civil aviation community and solidarity in this continent. Moreover, it is an important acknowledgement that we are stronger and more prosperous when we are better connected, and that nothing can connect Africa as efficiently and reliably as air transport does. Furthermore, I interpret our in-person presence today as another very important step toward putting this pandemic behind us and reconnecting the world.
While governments around the world have provided about $400 billion to airlines to support survival and restart efforts, financial relief to African airlines is estimated to be about a paltry $2.7 billion. Therefore, there is work to be done to push aviation beyond the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. An expert believes this will include changes in COVID-19 testing.
It's still putting Africa at disadvantage. The PCR test being the standard test required for African states costs between $30 to $150 per test across countries in Africa. An increase of 10% of travel costs, as you know, can reduce the demand at continental level by 15%, according to IATA. In order to support a sustainable reopening of air transport services, the African Union, through Africa CDC, is recommending member states to encourage the use of rapid diagnostic antigen tests for fully vaccinated passengers. The AU Task Force on the Safe Reopening of Borders is also working on harmonizing existing digital platforms for traveler health credentials and border requirements.
For Nigeria's aviation minister, human development is important to the restart plans. He asked the International Civil Aviation Organization to revive its development fund.
I wish to seize this opportunity to appeal to member states here present and the African Civil Aviation AFCAC, and a call to the ICAO SecGen to use his good offices to revive the ICAO Human Resource Development Fund, the HRDF program, which has remained inactive since 2018. Nigeria generously contributed to this fund and equally benefited from the inaugural secondment of officers to ICAO under this program. The exposure, experience, and knowledge gained by the officers attest to the usefulness of this program. Nigeria will continue to support ICAO's initiative and collaborate with member states and development partners on the development of air transport in Africa.
Strengthening safety and security in the sector is uppermost, but cooperation is also a factor that ensures that no nation is left behind. That's a message from Singapore's Senior Minister of Sustainability.
We can broaden and strengthen our efforts to restore civil aviation activities, including enhancing aviation safety, security, facilitation, and sustainability among all stakeholders. In this spirit, I'm pleased to announce that Singapore will be happy to make contributions totaling US $100,000 in cash and in kind to the AFI plan and the AFI SACFAL plan. activities to advance ICAO's strategic objectives on aviation safety and security.
Beyond the $100 million funding, Singapore and Africa put men to paper for a 2-year extension of cooperation. The message of cooperation is also not lost on African states, as Nigeria signs a memorandum of understanding with Rwanda.
Let me also begin to prepare the hearts of Sierra Leone.
And another one with Sierra Leone.
Within the Bagasso State, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Liberia.
Discussions to drive the better performance of aviation in the days ahead for the AFI region will continue over the next 5 days. And on the interview segment, the Director General of the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, Captain Nusa Nuhu, speaks to journalists on the sidelines of the conference, starting with the benefits of the MOUs signed by Nigeria.
This MOUs, this is another first time. We just renewed and expanded the scope of the MOU. There's no CA, even in the West, that has capacity to do everything it needs. So we work with Rwanda where we have deficiency and they have the capacity, we'll call them to come and help us. And where they have the deficiency or the capacity and Nigeria has, we'll go there and help them. So we encourage this cooperation using African countries into African countries so we can really help ourselves. Nobody is going to help Africans. We alone can do it ourselves. So it's important for this collaboration and coordination between African countries to really help each other cover where we have gaps or deficiencies in our system. It deals with safety, efficiency, infrastructure development in the airports and navigation services. And then you have the AFI-SECFOL that deals with issue of security and facilitation. Also the human resources capacity development. And of recent, of course, environment has become a big part of it. This is very significant for African regions. These programs over the years has seen the tremendous improvement in both safety, security facilitation in many African countries. Although there's still a long way to go, but it's very, very important. It's helped a lot of countries. And it's important for the implementation of AU Agenda 2063. Aviation is the best way of transportation in Africa for now because if you're going to develop roads and a railway across the continent, it's a huge investment and it's going to take time. And with the security challenges we have in some parts of Africa, that land transport development will take much longer time. So the single African air transport market is very important. Even those who have signed the MOU, there are certain eligibility requirements you need to do, and that's on the aviation ICAO audit and safety and ICAO audit and security. You must get a baseline minimum of absolutely 60% of the two to be able to participate in single African air transport market. That's the connection. Even if you've signed, if you don't meet both eligible requirements, you cannot participate. Luckily, in Nigeria, we've exceeded both. We've signed the MOI, so we are ready and key to go in the implementation of single African air transport market. We have significant number of ICAO certified instructors whom ICAO call all the time to go train people in other countries. This year, I think I've sent maybe 4 or 5 of my instructors to go train people in other areas. We have just domesticated some of our key core mandatory courses of our inspectors. We have run over 400 courses since then. And in the past, because of foreign exchange is involved, you could not have sent more than 50 people in here, 30 people in here. So it will have taken what we've done in 18 months, it will have taken us 8 to 10 years to do. And a tremendous savings in foreign exchange. When I say tremendous savings, in the millions of dollars.
The Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority has advised pilots and airline operators to exercise caution over aviation hazardous weather in the raining season. This warning is coming on the advent of the seasonal climate prediction released for the year 2022 by the Nigerian Meteorological Agency. NIMET had earlier predicted early or late March as the commencement of the raining season across the southern states, while April, May, and June 2022 as the onset of raining season in central and northern parts of Nigeria. Since the outset of the rainy season is usually characterized with severe thunderstorms and many other hazardous weather phenomena that could affect the safety of flight operations, pilots and flight crew members are expected to obtain adequate departure en route and destination weather information and briefing from NIMET aerodrome meteorological stations prior to flight operations. It's not the best of times for the Nigerian aviation industry as the airline operators of Nigeria has once more alerted the public of impending disruptions to scheduled flight operations of member airlines. This is not unconnected with the growing scarcity of aviation fuel, popularly known as Jet A1. In a statement issued in Lagos, the airline operator said the scarcity is impacting negatively on seamless conduct of air transport operations and would lead to flight rescheduling and or cancellations. The airline operator says its members are working very hard in alliance with product marketers, government and relevant stakeholders to ensure availability and proper pricing of aviation fuel in the country.
NCAT has different salary structures. You know, they have lecturers, they have normal staff.
Still on the sector, aviation unions have announced that aero contractors and Arik Air may soon go under as the airlines appear to be in seemingly derelict and forsaken conditions. In a press statement issued in Lagos by the Air Transport Senior Staff Association, the unions alleged that Aero CEO's assertion that its planes are too low to fly for an airline that runs an MRO for classic planes does not hold water. The union also claims that the phony lease contract with House of 5As, by which Aero was given only 3 seats in a 180-seater Airbus at a fixed price of $35,000 per seat, is a ploy to destroy the airline and is calling on the Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria to immediately replace the receiver manager of Aero contractors. Meanwhile, the management of the airline says the union's allegations are wild and unfounded and insists the challenges facing the airline in the current operating environment is huge. On the House of 5As, Aero claims every partnership is done with the aim of improving the revenue of the airline, particularly in relation to its unserviceable equipment and ensuring standard customer service. The airline in a statement said that the current management decided to create 4 strategic business units, which includes the maintenance, repair, overhaul, the aviation training organization, the airline operation and rotary wing to enhance efficiency and profitability. Hong Kong has reopened to non-residents as it has tamped down its COVID-19 cases. That's the first time in 2 years that travelers have been allowed to enter the financial hub since the pandemic outbreak.
It's great, actually. At least they're trying to open to the world. I guess it's a good thing.
Under the new rules, travelers who enter the city must be fully vaccinated. They must also produce a negative PCR test result before boarding and get tested upon arrival. Then they will head to designated quarantine hotels for at least 7 days. Hong Kong also eased rules on suspending flights carrying infected people. The threshold for the suspension is raised from 3 infected people per flight to 5 people, or 5% of passengers, whichever is higher, while the suspension duration is cut from 7 days to 5. The easing measures will likely serve as a lifeline for the country's gloomy tourism. According to its tourism board, the city received 91,000 visitors last year, a 97.4% drop year on year. The travel industry is expected to pick up in the 4th quarter, and it's hoped that next year it will bloom.
Drop off, checking in, going through the security checkpoint, boarding. This course of a traveler can often lead to stress and worry. A largely amplified phenomenon for travelers with disabilities who struggle to move around and find their bearing in such huge places. Millions of people pass through airports every year. But how is accessibility for persons with disabilities deployed within airports? That's what the Coalition of Disability Organizations, CODO, seeks to address with its research. Lead researcher, Professor Omololusho Yombo, a professor of sociology from the University of Lagos, breaks down some areas of the report tagged Accessibility of Nigerian Airports to Persons with Disabilities.
It's something that can help to raise awareness about the plight of PWDs. This was based on empirical studies. So we know exactly what the issues are, what is on the ground. For the PWDs on their own, I think it's also good that they know that some attention is being given to their issues of their concern. And then for some of the airline operators, the Airports Authority and other agencies, a good thing is that recommendations have been made also for more training. It's not that people are doing it deliberately perhaps, but we believe that if people are trained, then their performance will be better. And
some of the challenges encountered by persons with disabilities at the airports include difficulty in climbing the stairs to the airside, difficulty in boarding the aircraft, communication barriers due to absence of sign language, poor assistance by airport and airline staff, absence of dedicated seats for disabled persons, absence of dedicated seats for persons with disabilities, and absence of disability desks at the airports, among others. The advocacy project is hinged on the provisions of the Act prohibiting discrimination against persons with disabilities, which was signed into law in 2018.
It boils down to show that even an average person with disability do not understand what access means. So for the fact that the person even entered the plane, you say, to God be the glory. In fact, this thing is very good. He doesn't even know because he's used to suffering. He's used to shredded, he's used to discrimination. That for the fact that he even entered the plane is a testimony. So the pain and agony he took to enter the plane, it doesn't matter.
When the presentation is over, some of those present suggest that there should be necessary facilities.
I remember I and Waid, because we traveled together, we had to confront them. Like the way we confronted them, they knew that we understood what we were saying. The guy that was doing the boarding pass or whatever had to remove his seat and give me to sit down because I was angry. I was asking why I would have to walk that distance and by the counter, you just put a wheelchair for me. What is the essence of that wheelchair?
We are now in the digital world. It's not for me now to now book a Virgin Airline. When I now get to Virgin Airline, they now start telling me that there is no way because you're on a wheelchair. There is no way you're getting... No, I'll feel discouraged and I'll not want to travel next time again. But I think if there is something like that, it would be more easy in every website of every airline. Let there be how disability friendly they are. So it will really help us.
The next phase of the project is to engage the airlines, ground handlers, and other stakeholders in the aviation industry with a view to finding solutions to some of the issues raised.
An airport is broadly divided into the land side and the air side. At the heart of these terminals is the issue of safety and security, which is also global aviation industry's top priority.
You have the land side, then you have the air side. Then you have the terminal building that is an interface. These three layers, these three stratas, have their unique physical security system. Or measures that you put into place in respect of the land side might not be applicable to the air side and might even not be applicable to the terminal building. So they have their own unique physical security measures and procedures expected to be put in place and applicable to them.
Following the recent attack on the Kaduna International Airport and the withdrawal of scheduled operators, The airport management now says the security has been beefed up and the aerodrome is now safe for use.
The bandits did not access our runway. They didn't access our taxiway, neither did they access our tarmac. Soon after this thing happened, the airport commandant, we have an airport commandant, military commandant, requested for more men, more military, and they're on ground.
For many, this is of great concern as ICAO Annex 17 seeks to prevent all acts of unlawful interference against civil aviation throughout the world. And just how well can airports deal with the issue of insider threats?
Insider threats are the ones that can even kill the system. You know, the people outside now, they find it difficult to come in. So what they feel they can do is, oh, let me see what I can do to an insider, either give money or give bribe, then they will carry out that work for us. So that's the more reason if you must, at any point in time, access a restricted area, you have to be properly badged. And you must have a business to do at that restricted point. So the restricted area...
And how exactly should the airport authority be scaling up security across airports in the country?
Whatever procedures you put in place, it is the sincerity of purpose on the part of your staff that will determine their effectiveness. So first, we must take the staff into consideration. And our investment in technology must be complemented by intensive training, particularly in this part of the world where we don't have the financial wherewithal to upgrade our technology. So the only way to compensate is to make sure that our screeners and other security staff are given intensive training. Then secondly, the staff themselves, the equipment, we must try as much as possible to upgrade our equipment. We must try as possible to upgrade our equipment. We must make sure that the equipment we buy can stand the test of time, and we take into consideration the peculiarities of our environmental situation. Then you need patrol. All these systems must be supplemented by patrol. What is the essence of this patrol? The essence of the patrol is to make sure that intruders are detected and stopped before they reach their intended target. So you need motorable perimeter road. And the perimeter grounds must be well illuminated on both sides. And we must also make sure that vehicles are not allowed to be brought close to the fence.
The perimeter fences must be checked at all times by the security patrol teams. They check the perimeter fences at all times. Then continuous cutting of clearing of bushes for clear visibility is done at the air side. Profiling at the land side is very, very important. And with the profiling, we get things at ease. With profiling, if you are passing through the screening point now, you see security people, not necessarily on uniform, they will be watching, observing. When they see anything strange, they pick you aside. And sincerely, if they take you for a secondary search, we'll definitely see something on you.
Safety and security oversight responsibility is that of the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, and many ask that the aviation regulator and the airport authority work together to create airports where passengers have the assurance that they are safe and secure. This is where we disembark on this flight. It's bye for now. I'm Bukola Joe Oketumbi.